So, because I got interrupted, this is the second recording. Today we're going to be working with the Creality Slicer. There are two options here, Creality Slicer and the Ultimaker Cura 4.12.0 option. The 4.120 option from Ultimaker is much nicer and probably what you should be using. The Creality Slicer is what will come right out of the box with your printer, and is very important for you to know how to use this because it'll teach you how to use Ultimaker Cura. So, right out of the gate, you have your tool menu up here at the top, with File, Edit, View, Settings, Extensions, Preferences, and Help. You shouldn't need to you should not need to do any of these things and mess with any of this stuff right out of the box. Over here are the Prepare, Preview, and Monitor buttons. Then, from left to right, we have our File button to open file, your Printer option, which you can add printer, select the right one that you're using. I use an Ender 3 V2. Then, choose your PLA or material. So, I have material as PLA, and my nozzle size, my print head size, is 0.4 millimeters. This is default on the Ender 3. And then we have the quality bar, which I had already open. It'll show you your standard quality and your layer height, which you never want to mess with this, your infill, your support, and your adhesion boxes. So I'll go ahead and unhook those for now. So, we jump right in. We want to put a model on the board. We want to get something printed. I'll go off with this, Pullman Roof Mail. Something that's been requested just for the person I'm making this video. So it opens the file and it automatically imports it to the print bed. Now see, I picked the wrong one because this is the one that is a little different. I needed to use the female one. Okay. This is half of a model of a Rock Island passenger car commuter coach. I've been given this file and played around with it and modified it so that it works. So, just what I just did is on this left side, you see, once you select the model, click on the model that is, you will see a number of options to do different things. The first thing on the top of the list is to move on a linear axis on the X, Y, and Z axes. You can change this manually by typing in the numbers or by clicking and dragging on the independent axes. You can also do it linearly by clicking on the model. So, next up we have scaling on the same axes. Scale it up or down, bigger or smaller, just depending on how you like it. And we have the rotate function, which I'm going to use here in just a second. The mirror option, and a few other things that you don't really need right now. So, for this project, I'm going to make it so I can get supports in this little passenger coach. If you look at it, you see there's a big hole here, and there's a big hole down here. Makes it really hard to pull the supports out, or really allow it to automatically generate supports. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to move the model down into the print bed. So if you look, it's disappearing into the print bed, and see how it's red underneath there? And you can still see the yellow on top. We want all that yellow on the bottom to be gone. We bring it right down until it turns gray. That means it's underneath the print bed. So everything on the print bed that's above that little level is going to print. Everything underneath is just kind of going to be forgotten. So, alright, I've got it set up so I can put supports in this thing. Alright, well, I want the bottom half of the model too, so how do I do that? Well, in order to do that, you right click on this model. Go ahead and Bitdefender can fight me. So reselect your model if you have to select away from it. Right click on the model, and there you get a menu with a few different options. For this option, what we need to do is multiply the model so I can use the bottom half of the model to print. So I'll generate a new model, pardon my stutter, and it will spawn right above the bed in whatever orientation this other one is in. So in order to make this right, make it so I can get the bottom, I select the rotate tool. Then you'll see this kind of sphere-like thing appear on your model. These colors do not associate with the X, Y, and Z axis like these do up here. Just a heads up. So, now that I've got that selected, I'm going to rotate this model upside down and make it level so I can take it and then drop it below the print bed, like so. So I select my linear tool and I click on the blue option and bring it down. I bring it down just enough so that it's not quite underneath the print bed. The dark red means it's underneath. If it's just above, then it's black, or that darkish red color. So now that this is set, I'll go ahead and move this back and forth a little bit so that it's there. These things are parallel on the bed because I like to keep things simplified and together, especially because the printer likes that too. You'll find putting things in this more closer to the center of the bed is always a better idea. So now this is done. You've got your gray here and your dark red here. Now this model is pretty much ready to go. So now once we're done with this, and we've got it all figured out, go up here. So the infill, I normally do about 40% infill for safety. It just keeps the thing from falling apart while it's printing and just makes it a stronger print. It takes longer, but it's worth it. So I'm going to have it automatically generate supports so we can fill in these holes and these empty spaces. And I'm also going to have it add adhesion, which means it's going to have an extra few strands of PLA around the edges to make sure that these pieces actually print properly and adhere to the print bed. If they don't adhere when they start, you just get a wad of filament at the end, and 7 hours wasted and a few 100 grams wasted of filament. So now that I've got all those options selected and I'm happy with this, I'm comfortable, I go ahead and hit slice. What this does is it generates supports and maps out the path that the print head is going to take for the job. Now nothing happened and it's done. Okay, so we can hit preview. Just as a quick reference, it should tell you how much filament you're going to use in meters and in grams, and how long approximately it'll take. You can hit preview down here or up here. I'm going to do it right there just for kicks. Then it will show you what it's actually going to print. So you see the supports on the steps and the supports down here and over here and around here, making it so that this is not going to fall apart or get stringy when it prints. So now that we've done that, you can save it to file or your SD card for your printer and you're good to go. You can print it as you please. Just make sure to preheat for PLA because you're using PLA in this programmed file. So that's Creality Slicer 4.2.1. Here's Ultimaker Cura 4.12.0. This program can be found here, while that's opening, at ultimaker.com under the Software tab. While this is loading and opening up. So this looks a little nicer. It even has like a print bed that says Ender on it. Kind of pretty. So it's very similar to the Creality Slicer. It's just more generalized because it can manage all kinds of different printers. So it's generically set for the 0.4mm nozzle. I'll go ahead and open a file, which of course I haven't used this program in a while because I use the slicer most of the time, and hit 3D printing files. And let's pick another option here. Why not? So I'm going to pick one that's already been sliced, and I've played with it and remodeled it. So this is a boxcar. This is actually a model that's been designed to be one piece, which I love about it. Makes my life so much easier. I'm also going to pull out the boxcar bottom, if I can find it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm blind. Boxcar body. Now I must not have the bottom out. Okay, well, we'll just clear print bed. This is a great example. So I decide I don't want to do anything with that. So alright, we're back to nothing. So I'll pull out my caboose, because I have a caboose, full caboose body and everything like that. So we'll go ahead and open the bottom. So here's the bottom model. Here is the caboose. There we go. And here are the rails. Right here. Alright, so you see the rails, you see everything here. So it all imported as it was put in CAD when it was built, or whatever design software this came from. This file came from Thingiverse, and it's a very popular file. I've seen it many times. So the caboose can stay the way it is. It's got an empty bottom, and those supports can fill in the center and the edges. So we'll go ahead and push that over here. Now this thing, I don't like it the way it is, because underneath there's all kinds of details, and it makes it really aggravating to try to use supports for that. So I'm going to select my rotate tool, which it looks a little different here, but is pretty much the same. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to use my mirror tool, or my rotate tool, to rotate it upside down. So now here it's a color blue instead of red that is attached to the board. But here we are. These steps will need supports, but that's pretty doable. So now I'll go ahead and click on this. Now of course that's not going to print very well like that. It's going to be a real pain in the rear end to try to get the supports done for it. So what we do is we take it and we rotate it on its flat side. And make sure it's actually flat, because you can rotate it so that it's not flat. And of course, because we need 2 of these, I'll go ahead and multiply it by 1. Now that they're all together, I'll select each one and modify it so that I can be happy in where it's located. I don't like stuff on the edges because it doesn't always print right and needs to adhere properly. I'll give these some space so they can be easier to take apart once I get the adhering off of them. So now I've got everything selected. We'll go over here and click these options. And now adhesion's already selected, which is great. I'm going to go 30% more like the infill on this one, and I'm going to add supports. So now we can also do custom things if we want to in the future, but I don't do that just because normally this does the job. More complex things you may need custom print settings. So hit slice, and this one will take a minute because it's a little complicated for it. This is a long print job. 11 hours and 11 minutes using 74 grams. Nice. So again, you don't see any changes. Everything is flat. Everything's proper. Actually, don't look like everything is quite flat. Now it'll generate supports for it. Because if you look here, everything that's blue has been adhered, is going to stick to the bottom of the plate. Everything that's red needs support for it. So that means everything up here, this, the steps, even the backs of this. See how there's space in between there, right there? So let's go ahead and preview. There's our slicing. So the blue parts are supports. They're what's going to hold everything up. And this is actually much nicer, if you can get a hold of it, than the Creality slicer, because you can see through the print and understand where the supports are and how they're going to work, thanks to the coloring. So, alright. But now you can save this to file and put it on your SD card. I hope this was helpful. This is not a very commonly reviewed topic on YouTube. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.